it. We're willing to go through it and put up the fight.
President Duterte, who has backed Co's presidential aspirations from the start, has yet to announce his new bet.
During the event, Pacquiao also could not help criticizing the leader of the other half of PDP Laban, Energy Secretary Al Cusco.
Focus siya sa trabaho niya, huwag yung politika. Hindi man siya politiko eh. Huwag siya makialam masyado dyan sa ano. Kaya hindi naman, sinira niya yung, inulo niya yung PDP, tapos wala namang nangyari.
A group claiming to be the real officers of the Partido Federal ng Pilipinas claims that PFP presidential candidate Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. is not a member of the political party that he is representing. Meanwhile, Mayor Isco Moreno said he will seek the endorsement of President Duterte for his presidential bid. Will Bongbong Marcos be disqualified, and what will a Duterte endorsement mean for the candidacy of Isco Moreno? We discuss in this episode of The Chiefs. Welcome to The Chiefs. I'm Robbie Alampay, and with us online, joining us from Manila, aming pamintuan of the Philippine Star, sa Quezon City, si Lucy Cruz Valdez of News 5, and kasama po natin dito sa Mandaluyong, Ed Lingao of One News. Chiefs, good evening.
Evening.
Evening. Isang araw na lang.
Pero may something to look forward to. A4 to A5. Yes. Pwede na rin sa booster shots.
Umpisa na bukas.
Pero may bad news din doon eh.
Umpisa na rin yung face-to-face pilot in Metro Manila.
Oo nga. Yes. Yeah.
Yes. So medyo may mga good news ano.
So pero buksan na sa
may bad news yun eh. I think in Negros may 42,000 or 40 plus thousand doses na napanis.
Yun na nga.
So that's a huge amount of doses.
Pero at least yung taga South Africa, yung tatlo and
negative.
one
Negative.
Filipino.
Negative lahat.
So okay naman.
So lahat at saka proactive. Kanina, I was talking to Dr. Nina Gloriani. And in a way, she acknowledged na na-accelerate din pala itong booster schedule precisely because of Omicron. They were thinking maybe around December 10 or so. And then they were thinking of, months ahead, even next year. Pero because of Omicron, nabilisan din. So that's good news all around.
Kulo lang sa politika, no?
Sige. Doon tayo sa magulo. Mahirap na puro good news pag-uusapan natin. Baka maubusan tayo na pag-uusapan. Hindi, but sige, seriously. Let's begin tonight with the elections. We begin tonight with Bong Amin, BARMM Chairperson of Partido Federal ng Pilipinas, and Mr. Asam Ulangkaya, PFP VP for Mindanao and Chairman of the Membership Committee. Good evening, sirs.
Gandang gabi po.
Magandang gabi po, ma'am. Magandang gabi, sir.
Magandang gabi po. Sir, nandito po kayo ngayon kasi may nag-file na naman daw kayo ng case against Bongbong Marcos. Now, as everybody knows, this is not the first case. Hindi ko na nga mabina. Ilan na ba?
I think going on 60. Pero sila ata buka, yung nag-file ata yung isang grupo eh. I think itong grupong ito ang nagre-represent ng PFP.
Oo nga pala. Yung isa yung kay Mangilin. Yung kay Mangilin yung nag-file. Now, gaya nga po ng binasa natin, the group claiming to be the real representatives of the PFP. You are from the other faction. Paki-explain po muna to bago natin buksan. Yung PFP muna pag-usapan natin.
Laban, magulo rin.
Sige, kahit sino po sa inyo.
Yung membership committee head siguro, si Mr. Asam.
Unang-una, magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat yan. Ma'am Nucci, Ma'am Ami, Sir Ed, and Sir Ruby. At maraming salamat sa pag-imbita dito po sa pinagpipitagang palatuntunan po ninyo sa telebisyon. Unang-una po, gusto ko lang pong ipahayag sa inyo na ang Partido Federal ng Pilipinas ay nag-iisa po. Wala pong ibang aksyon. Pangalawa po, gusto ko po rin ipahayag sa gabing ito sa mga nakikinig ng mga mamamayan ng mga bansang Pilipinas na ang ipinail po na petisyon sa COMELEC ay dalawang isyu na pawang pong kasinungalingan at katatawa-tawa. Una po, sinabi sa naturang pong petisyon na ang aming pong presidential candidate ay hindi membro ng Partido Federal ng Pilipinas at ang petitioner sa pangalan po ni Ginoong Abubakar Mangilin ay chairman daw po ng Partido Federal ng Pilipinas na hindi naman totoo. At upang patunayan po yan, gusto ko pong ipaliwanag sa inyo na kung kaya't siya po ay taga Mindanao, kami po ay kapwa taga Mindanao at mabibilang po kami po ay parehong Muslim. Kung kaya't kami po ay naatasang sumagot at magpaliwanag sa naturang pong issue.
Sige po.
Kaya ninyo, nababasahin ko sa inyo kung marapatin po ninyo ang opisyal na pahayag ng Partido Federal ng Pilipinas ukol sa isyong isinumiti o ipinail ngayong hapon ni Ginoong Abubakar Mangilin. Mr. Abubakar Mangilin was unseated. Unseated po as chairman in the party's convention last September 18, 2021, when the Partido Federal ng Pilipinas endorsed Senator Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. as its presidential candidate, and the position of chairman was left vacant for Senator Marcos. On October 5, 2021, former Senator Marcos joined the PFP and assumed the position of chairman. On October 6, 2021, former Senator Marcos filed his candidacy for president as the official candidate of the Partido Federal ng Pilipinas in May 9, 2022 elections. Mr. Mangilin is a member of the MRRD NECC. Together with its chairman, former TESDA Secretary Giling Mamundyong, and DAR Secretary John Casticiones, who is now running for senator under PDP Laban. Mr. Mangilin, Secretary Mamundyong, and Secretary Casticiones of the MRRD NECC have openly called for the establishment of a revolutionary government. President Duterte disowned them. Kung kaya there is an investigation by the Philippine National Police of that illegal activities. Mr. Mamundyong left the party in 2018 to join the PDP Laban to run as Governor of Lano del Sur. When Mamundyong was defeated, he filed a case against Governor Mamundyong before the COMELEC. Mr. Casticiones left the PFP on 2019 to join the PDP Laban and now running as the senator in the May 9, 2000 elections. Yan po ang opisyal na pahayag ng Partido Federal ng Pilipinas. Uulitin po, iisa lang po ang Partido Federal ng Pilipinas at wala pong paksyon gaya ng ibang political party sa bansa.
Yes, sir. Mr. Asam, maaari po magtanong kagad ano po ngayon ang status ni Mr. Mangilin matapos siyang mapatalsik bilang chairman? Siya po ba yung member pa rin o may iba pa siyang hinahawakang posisyon sa PFP?
Ang posisyon po niya sa partido ay, sinabi ko kanina, unseated na po
Unseated
as
po, opo.
chairman ng Partido Federal ng Pilipinas.
Pero member pa rin, unseated lang as chairman. Ganun ho ba yun?
Ang magpapatunay po sa ilalim po ng bylaws ng aming partido at ng desisyon ng Supreme Court ay ang aming pong National Secretary General, whether Juan de la Cruz is officer or member of the Partido Federal ng Pilipinas.
Pero ano nga po yung Oo. Ano yung proseso ng pagtatanggal? Kasi we're pretty sure na i-challenge na yung
Opo,
pagkakatanggal
dun mauuwi yun
ng
eh.
pagka-chairman. Kaya saka I'm sure na kaya yan nagrereklamo ngayon na ganyan dahil nga natanggal siyang chairman. Ano ba yung process nun? Meron ba kayo yung mga bylaws sa pagtanggal ng chairman ninyo?
Noon pong September 18, 2021 ay unanimous po na sinangayonan ng buong membro at opisyal po ng Partido Federal ng Pilipinas ang pagdeklara sa posisyon po ng chairman bilang bakante.
Nag-meeting po kayo at mga ilang membro po ba ang member ninyo ngayon? Yung umattend ng meeting na lang. Out of how many members?
Ang ginawa po naming National Convention noong pong September 18, 2021 ay sang-ayon po sa kautusan ng Commission on Election na kung saan ang bawat political party ay magkakaroon dapat ng National Convention mula September 1 hanggang September 2 para doon sa sasabak sa 2022 national and local elections.
O tapos ano pong nangyari nga ron? Paano hong natanggal si Mr. Mangelen?
Yun
Ano
po,
proseso ang pinagdaanan ninyo para opisyal na matanggal siya na sa inyong mga polisiya ay katanggap-tanggap. Kumbaga, yun ang nakatakda sa inyong mga party policy.
sangayon po sa konbensyon ng partido ay nagkaroon po kami ng plenary power. Ang partido po ay nagkaroon po ng plenary power to reorganize, reassign, or even replace any of its members or officers.
Pero ano po ang dahilan kung bakit? Siyempre kailangan may dahilan kung bakit siya tanggalin. Meron ba siyang violate sa mga rules ninyo? Saka ulitin ko lang yung tanong ko, ilan yung member ba ng partido ngayon?
Ang membro po ng partido ay nasa 3.2 million na po kami. Nationwide, kasama po dyan ang amin po ang ating pong mga kababayang mga OFW sa abroad.
Well, Mr. Asam, pasensya na po kung medyo makulit kami dun sa proseso kasi sa huli po kasi ang COMELEC ang titingnan niya kung nasunod yung bylaws at konstitusyon ng partido sa pagpapalit ng mga opisyal eh. So doon po nauuwi bali lahat doon sa proseso eh. Doon po sa inyong bylaws at sa inyong konstitusyon ng PFP, ano po bang proseso dapat sino dapat ang boboto o sino magdedesisyon kung sinong uupo bilang Pangulo o Chairman o Secretary General? Ano po yung pinaka-proseso sa inyong bylaws?
Ang pinaka-proseso po doon ay sinunod po namin ang kautusan po ng COMELEC sa pagkakaroon po ng National Convention sa lahat ng mga opisyal at mga membro ng partido kung saan ang aming po mga leaders nationwide ay sumali, nakiisa sa naturang pong National Convention at nagkaroon po ng unanimous decision. Wala pong sumalungat noon pong idineklara ng partido. Ang chairman ay bakante.
Oo nga po, pero ano po yung pinakadahilan kung bakit po sa inyong convention ay tinanggal nyo si Ginoong Mangelen? Ano ang grounds?
Ang amin pong sinusunod ay yung pong kautusan ng COMELEC na kung saan ang bawat partido ay magkakaroon po ng National Convention mula September 1 to September 30. At ang aming convention ay naganap po noong September 18, 2021 sa bayan po ng Tupi, South Cotabato. At doon po ay na-unseat ang chairman ng Partido Federal ng Pilipinas.
Babay, unseat po, pinatalsik nyo po? Kumbaga, tinanggal nyo siya? Or nagbotohan lang kayo ulit at hindi na siya ang nakakuha ng mayorya? Ano po ba ang ibig sabihin ninyo ng unseat? Napatalsik po ba siya?
Gaya po ng sinabi ko kanina, ang ginawa pong konbensyon ng Partido Federal ng Pilipinas ay magkaroon kami ng plenary power o nagkaroon ng plenary power ang Partido Federal ng Pilipinas at na-unseat po si Abubakar Mangelen sapagkat sa ilalim po ng ating civil service ang isa pong appointee sapagkat siya po ay commissioner ngayon ng Office of Muslim Affairs ay hindi po pwede na magkaroon siya o manungkulan bilang isang opisyal ng partido politikal. Kung kaya siya po bilang isang commissioner at appointee po ng Pangulo ay hindi pwedeng umawak sa posisyon ng isang political party gaya ng Partido Federal ng Pilipinas.
Okay. Sir, kung ano pa mo man, nandito na po tayo ngayon, yung po bang napagdesisyonan ng plenaryo, kailangan pa po ba yan ng recognition ng COMELEC? Yaman din lamang at partido kayo. Does that have to be recognized by the COMELEC or ngayon pa lang magtutuos ngayon?
Gaya po ng sinabi ko kanina, ang convention po ng national parties ay ipinag-utos po yan ng COMELEC na sa katuparan tuwing o mula September 1 hanggang September 30 ng 2021 para doon po sa tumatakbo o sasabak sa eleksyon sa 2022.
Yes, sir.
Ilan po yung nag-participate dun sa election? Kasi hindi naman lahat ng membro nagpa-participate sa ganyan eh. Ilan po yung nag-participate sa pag-unseat?
Naka-mute po yata kayo.
Ay nationwide. Hindi isali lahat ang lahat ng mga officials gawa na meron po tayong protocol na sinusunod. Kung kaya, sinunod po ng Partido Federal ang alituntunin ng Commission on Elections at yan po ay legal at lawful po naman na naisakatuparan ng aming pong partido.
Yes, sir. Mr. Asam, naintindihan po namin yung sinasabi niyo na ang COMELEC nagbigay talaga ng isang buwan para sa mga party conventions. And that's a given naman po. Actually, pero po yung COMELEC does not tell the parties whether or not to change their leaders. Which is why we go back to you. We go back to you and your party. Ayon po sa inyong bylaws, ayon po sa inyong konstitusyon sa PFP, ano po ba ang kailangan para magpalit ng mga liderato? Ilang boto at sino ang boboto? Yun po ang ibig namin itanong sa inyo. Kung sino ang bumoto, ilan ang bumoto, at ilan dapat ayon sa inyong bylaws?
Ang aming pong bylaws, ilang party ay masabi po namin lahat na yan po ay nasunod ng maayos. Yun nga lang, at dito, sa ginawa namin pong konbensyon, noon pong idineklara na posisyon ay bakante para sa chairman, unopposed. Wala ni isa pong hindi sumangayon.
Okay.
Okay, may nabanggit po kayo kanina kasi na si Mr. Mangelen po ba, kung tama po ako, no, yung pagkakadinig ko, ay nagmungkahi na magtayo ng revolutionary government. Kaya siya po ay dinis-own ni Pangulong Duterte. Tama po ba? Tama po ba yung dinig ko?
Ang inadvocacy po nilang revolutionary government ay agad pong dinis-on ng Pangulong Duterte o ng pamahalaan.
Opo, yun po ba ang ginawang dahilan kung bakit siya na-unseat?
Hindi po. Siya po ay appointee ng Malacanang bilang commissioner, isa sa mga commissioners ng NCMF o National Commission of Muslim Filipinos. At hindi po pwede sa kanya bilang isang appointee na mamuno sa isang political party.
Pero sir, di ba sa PDP
bawal
Laban,
po ba yun?
si Secretary Cusi is
Oo.
is
Ay,
appointed.
chairman ng PDP Laban.
Also,
Bawal
si
po ba
John
yun?
Castriciones din dati, who was your founder ng Partido Federal, is agrarian reform secretary.
Hindi naman po kami pwede mag-comment doon po sa issue ng partido PDP Laban. Hindi po kami membro ng PDP Laban.
Yes,
Hindi,
sir.
si John Castriciones na lang po. Hindi ho ba dati po siyang opisyal ng partido ninyo? Pero siya po ay agrarian reform secretary noon. Wala naman pong bawal doon.
Kaya nga po, agad-agad po siyang nag-resign bilang Pangulo ng PFP noon sapagkat sa kanyang posisyon bilang DAR Secretary ay hindi pwede maging pununo ng political party gaya ng Partido Federal ng Pilipinas.
Okay. Sir, so far pinag-uusapan po natin yung intramurals and politics and yung mga away sa loob ng inyong partido. If you don't mind, tanungin ko lang po kayo yung implikasyon nitong kaso na to. And siguro this will also explain kung bakit sa inyo, mahalaga sa inyo na maibigay nyo yung panig nyo. Pero kung sakaling totoo ang sinasabi ng complaint ni Mr. Mangelen na hindi dapat ituring na miyembro ng partido si Ferdinand Marcos Jr., ano pong implikasyon doon sa kanyang pagkakandidatura?
Gaya po ng sinabi ko sa inyo, ito pong kanyang ginawa ay katawa-tawa at hindi ka panipaniwala. Sapagkat ako bilang chairman ng membership committee, ako ang makapagpatunay at ako ang pumirma sa membership form ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos bilang miyembro ng Partido Federal ng Pilipinas at agad naman siya pong naupo doon sa bakanting posisyon na chairman ng ating partido.
Opo, nandun na po tayo and if you don't mind po, pasensya na po, I'm not actually asking about Bongbong Marcos per se, yung pong sa pagkakaintindi nyo, because ako mismo, I'm not an election law expert, none of us are here. Pero gusto ko lang po maintindihan, under election rules, under COMELEC rules, kung hindi miyembro ng partido yung nag-file at ultimately doon mapunta, hindi na po natin pinag-uusapan si Bongbong Marcos, kahit sinong kandidato, kung mapatunayan po na hindi siya miyembro ng partido, yun na po ba yun? Tapos na ang usapan kung pwedeng tumakbo yung taong yun o hindi?
Ang may comment ko lang kasi po dyan ay sa issue po ng aming pong partido. Kasi dalawa pong issue ang ni-raise po ni Mr. Mangele. Una, siya pa ay chairman at si Senator Bongbong Marcos ay hindi miyembro ng partido. Ang sabi ko sa inyo, yung kanyang pagiging chairman na kiniklaim niya sa kanyang petisyon ay hindi po totoo. Ikalawa pong issue na yung sinasabi niya na hindi miyembro ng aming partido si Senator Bongbong Marcos, yan po ay kami ang magpapatunay na siya po ay miyembro opisyal ng Partido Federal ng Pilipinas at siya rin ay aming national chairman.
Okay. Well, ako po, isang tanong lang po siguro. Ano po yung huling nakarehistro sa COMELEC bilang inyong opisyal na chairman? Kasi ang pagkakaintindi ko, nag-file ata, ang deadline ng filing ng CIUS, yung Sworn Information Update Statement dun sa COMELEC, nung Agosto po. Kung Agosto, baka nakaupo pa nun si Mangelen. Nakapag-update na ho ba kayo ng inyong paperwork dun sa COMELEC kung sino ang inyong chairman?
Of course po, sapagkat dahil sa declared vacant po ang posisyon na yan, pag-install po namin kay Senator Bongbong Marcos bilang chairman, yun po ay automatic sinusunumite sa Commission on Election.
Okay.
Okay. Maraming salamat po. Maraming salamat po sa inyo. we'd like to thank Partido Federal ng Pilipinas Chairperson for Bong Armin and also Bong Amin rather.
Tsaka si
And,
Alsam Ulangkaya ng Membership Committee ng PFP. Maraming salamat. Shukran.
Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat po.
Salamat po.
We will need to take a break. Please stay with us. The Chiefs will be right back.
Welcome back to Chiefs here on One News, and we will try to go back later to the disqualification case. But for now, we have with us Mr. Lito Banayo, the campaign manager of presidential candidate Manila City Mayor Isco Moreno. Mr. Banayo, magandang gabi and welcome back to the Chiefs.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Magandang
Magandang gabi
gabi
sa inyo
po.
lahat. Ami, Lucy, Ed, and Robbie.
Yes, sir. Sir, siguro naman napansin niyo halos lahat ng news outlets kineri yung sinabi ni Isco na he is hopeful na makuha niya yung endorsement ng Pangulong Duterte kung matuloy ang pag-atras ni Mr. Bongo. Is there anything to contextualize in that statement? How should we read that and what should we read into it?
Actually, para kay Isco Moreno, miski na sino ang tumulong sa kanya at lantaran naman siyang humihingi ng tulong sa lahat, no? Miski pagka nagsasalita siya sa mga big crowds, no, he keeps asking people to help him because he needs help, no. And so if you're asking people for votes, who are you to deny asking, the president himself if he wants to endorse you? In the absence nga of his original candidate, Senator Bongo.
Yes, sir. But sir, that's in the absence of any fundamental differences in principles or policies between those two camps. Wala ho bang walang fundamental differences sila?
Well, in the first place, Ed, nung nagdeklara si Isco Moreno na tatakbo siyang presidente, he never said that he never categorized himself as being part of the opposition nor of the administration. He was running basically as a candidate who wanted to help the people, present his platform to the people, his policies, his advocacies, and bahala na ang tao mag-judge, no? Now, of course, when he submitted, as he wants to call it, his application for the job of the presidency to lead the country, he didn't expect naman itong mga nangyayaring ito, no, na all the time, for instance, we were expecting Mayor Inday Sara Duterte to be one of the candidates for president, and we didn't know about Senator Bongo at that time. We thought he would be running for vice president, no? So pumasok siya dun sa labanan, wika nga, without considering who his opponents will be, no? Because at the end of the day, it would be the people who would judge who is most fit to lead the country in the next 6 years.
Okay, Mr. Banayo, can we just get something out of the way? That is, if we might as well get it out of the way. Bongo, he still has not formally withdrawn his candidacy. It's running on 2 days now since he said that he will. In the meantime, he's going around the country pa rin. What are we supposed to make of it? What is your campaign making of that?
Well, we don't want to read anything into that. No, I suppose Senator Bongo, after his announcement, is not likely to change his stance. No, but of course, you can never tell. No, the situation has become a bit crazy these days. No, you wouldn't know what to expect next. So many surprises, starting with the substitution on November 15. Hindi mo na talaga malaman eh. So, para kay Isco Moreno, you just focus on the campaign ahead. No? You move around the country, you listen to the people, you talk to the people, as many as you can reach, and bahala na, no? After that.
Yung sinabi niya, the president's endorsement, hindi ba kayo nag-aalala na it is reinforcing perceptions na he is Duterte light? And is that even a cause for concern in your camp na tinatawag siyang gano'n na siya yung Duterte light candidate?
No, it's not. From the very beginning, they kept saying that, no? But it's been proven by events that Isco Moreno was never the administration candidate. Without, of course, foreclosing the fact na ngayon na mukhang biglang nawala ng kandidato si Pangulong Duterte, then the field is wide open, no? Whether he wants to endorse anyone among the other candidates left, no? We do not know. Pwede din namang hindi na siya mag-endorse, no? I mean, just endorse Inday Sara for vice president and not endorse any candidate for president.
But do you think that Isco will benefit from the withdrawal of Senator Bongo?
Well, I cannot tell that right now, no, because una nga hindi pa naman talaga nagwi-withdraw ng certificate of candidacy si Senator Bongo for president, no. But at the same time, I have to be honest in admitting na marami na rin na mga PDP laban leaders or stalwarts who are calling us up and saying they're going to switch to us, no? I mean to to Mayor Isco Moreno, since their favored candidate, Senator Bongo, is no longer in the running. No? So natural naman yan, mangyayari yan. No? So, I'm sure doon sa ibang kandidato, meron din sigurong nagpasabi kay Senator Lacson, kay Senator Pacquiao. We never can tell, no? How the cookie will crumble eventually.
And how have you been reacting to these intentions siguro to move to the side of Isco?
Well, we welcome them, no? Politics after all is addition. So, lalo na ngayon na masyadong per the surveys na masyadong malaki ang margin ni former Senator Ferdinand Marcos Jr. So, syempre, any help is welcome, no?
You've been a political strategist for a long time. Yung hindi pagpa-file ni Senator Bongo ng formal withdrawal of his POC, merong mga nagsasabi, may nag-speculate na he's actually waiting for the DQ cases against Bongbong Marcos to prosper. At kung matutuloy yun, hindi matutuloy yung withdrawal niya, you think that's a possibility at this point?
Well, of course, that is a possibility if we're talking of possibilities. But ang basa ko kasi dun sa parang gut-wrenching reactions of late ni Senator Bongo, mukhang hindi naman siya nambobola. Mukha namang talagang hindi niya feel na panahon niya pa para maging presidente o tumakbong presidente. Because even before, his friends kept telling me that his real intention was to run for vice president at the most or at the highest. No? So kaya lang, right after the substitution, being a faithful soldier of the president, dinesisyon na ni Presidenting tumakbo siyang presidente, sumunod siya. But eventually nga, kung wala yung puso mo doon, wala yung pakiramdam mo, hindi maganda, you won't go for it. No?
Sir, kanina po nabanggit ni Ed that, when it comes to endorsements, you would also, of course, you would welcome endorsements. But as Ed said, you would also assume that there are no fundamental differences there. And I think for anybody, not just for Isco, anybody who wants the endorsement of President Duterte in particular, the question of the public, and of a cynical public, is, what are you promising in return? In which positions are you malleable? Say on positions of his stance on whether or not we return to the ICC, his stance on accountability for the war on drugs, on human rights, and so on. What price might a candidate pay, that would include Isco Moreno, for an endorsement from President Duterte?
Well, unang-una, Robbie, hindi naman umaabot pa doon sa puntong nag-uusap yung dalawang kampo, no? Everything is speculative at this point. Secondly, we've made, or rather, my candidate, Mayor Isco Moreno, has made his positions very clear. On the war on drugs, he supports the war on drugs, but he does not believe in extrajudicial killings or summary executions, for that matter, as a means to extirpate the drug menace. No?
Does he believe that there should be? Does he believe that there should be a probe and accountability for the way the war on drugs has been conducted over the past 5 years?
He has also been very clear on that. No, let the processes of our justice system and the rule of law prevail. No, and he was even open in saying na papayagan naman niya yung ICC na magpadala ng investigators dito, should they finally decide to do so. No.
Oh, well, sir, I'll go back to my question a while ago about yung differences. Kasi if anybody, whether it's Isco or any other candidate who's hoping to get some sort of endorsement from the president, I'd refer back to the previous months kung saan parang nagpaparinigan at nagbabakbakan yung dalawa. You do remember the president referring to sexy photos. Of course, yung paramdam doon is kay Isco. And yung paramdam ni Isco na living in Disneyland, yung mga puro face shield at yung mga bibingi-bingihan. So I don't know if are they comfortable with each other to the point where Isco would welcome an endorsement.
They're not very close to each other, no. But alam mo, politika yan, Ed, no? Even the presidents, for instance, poking fun at Isco Moreno's past as a movie actor, no. That's politics, no. But Isco, kuminsan kasi pag you have to answer back. Like when the president said that the city of Manila, or without mentioning rather the city of Manila, but clearly alluding to the fact na hindi maganda yung management ng COVID infections sa Manila, syempre magre-react ka doon dahil hindi naman totoo, because it's very clear to everybody that Manila has been at the lead of all the cities and all the provinces in the country insofar as preventing the spread of the infection and being prepared to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. No? Malinaw naman sa lahat ng tao siguro yon, at media itself can attest to that. No? So syempre may mga sagutan. Wala namang 100% na pagkakasundo ang sino man sa politika or sa pamamahala ng pamahalaan. There are, but at the end of the day, we do not deny the fact that people do not necessarily want abrupt or radical change, no? But people rather, the people right now, it's borne by surveys, FGDs, and other measurements of public opinion, people want a continuity with improvements, no? Not necessarily a radical change as they may have had in previous elections.
Kung sakasakaling i-endorse nga ni President Duterte si Mayor Isco, will the mayor also be supporting the bid for the Senate of President Duterte?
We haven't discussed that at all, no? Wala kami pinag-uusapan tungkol doon. But Ami, I've had a certain degree of closeness with the president, no? I don't believe at the end of the day the president will really seriously continue to run for the Senate, no?
You see him dropping out?
Why?
No, yun yung pakiramdam ko lang, no? Knowing the person, no? He does not enjoy legislative work. It's very clear, no? Kuminsan baka reaction lang niya yon dahil masyado matindi yung mga Senate investigations, no? Especially when they are targeted towards his cabinet members, no? Nasasaktan siya doon. Pero so parang gut reaction niya, sige, tatakbo ko Senado. I can be wrong, I may be wrong, no? But I don't think he really wants to be a senator of the Republic.
Tuturuan daw niya yung mga senador how to go about their business, eh. Di ba? You don't believe that?
Well,
He can be Senate President, he can aim for Senate President. Oh.
Alam mo, yung pagiging Senate President, boboto ka ng 23 kasamahan mo. No? It's not something that any president, for that matter, can by his own self dictate. Hindi pareho yan ang speakership of the House. No? Remember in 2016, Alan Cayetano, who lost the bid for the vice presidency, wanted to be Senate President. But the President couldn't help him to become Senate President. Because at the end of the day, his peers decided on Coco Pimentel.
Hi, Mr. Benay, I want to ask you, we enjoy talking to you because we can talk to you about politics in general and picking on your experience and so on. So kanina nga po, nabanggit nyo, what everybody knows, surveys, conventional thinking says that Bongbong Marcos is at this point still the man to beat. So how do the other campaigns, How do the other campaigns then position, given this, the strong running right now of Bongbong Marcos?
Well, we've tested that through surveys as well as FGDs. And what has come out are, one, the Sara votes. When Sara was still a candidate or was still listed as a candidate for president, the Sara votes transferred to Senator Marcos. But are these hard support? Can you consider this hard support? The answer to that is it's still soft support. Secondly, that a lot of trolls have been unleashed by the Marcos camp to create this illusion of a savior. So it's the job of any competitor, any opponent, to puncture that myth. That Senator Marcos and his handlers have created. And we still have about 5 months to do that. It can be done.
Do you think the petitions for disqualification and cancellation of the COC are going to work against him or in his favor?
I don't have any measurement of that at this point, whether it's working in his favor or whether it's going to be bad for him. But going by previous elections, remember in 2016, Grace Poe was the subject of a disqualification case that went all the way up to the Supreme Court, which decided in her favor. But by the time the Supreme Court decided in her favor, people had already turned off, or most of her supporters had already turned off and shifted their support mostly to President Mayor Rodrigo Duterte at the time. The same thing happened in 2010. There was a disqualification case against former President Joseph Estrada at that time, and Pinoy won by 42%, I think, over ERAP's 24%. Again, because
what about
the disqualification case.
Mr. Banayo,
what about the cocaine accusation of President Duterte? What do you make of that? I mean, is that an inoculation, some experts or analysts would say? Or
I don't think that's an inoculation, because that is a very, pag ang presidente na very fixated on the war on drugs and considers the gains on this war on drugs, however we may contest the methods, as a legacy on his part, para niya baliktarin yung sinabi niya, para mo nilunok yung dinura mo na, to put it in colloquial Tagalog. Parang you can't do a volte-face on that and say, hindi, susuportahan ko na lang si Bongbong kasi mataas yung numbers niya. After having accused him of something which in his book is the most cardinal of all sins.
Mr. Banayo, last question na lang po, because you're not the first to mention or allude to the soft support, supposedly, as borne out supposedly by surveys for Bongbong Marcos. I think Dindo Manhit, among other people, pointed to that also. I think people have some idea, but can you flesh that out? What does that mean? Can you paint an archetype for a soft supporter?
Okay. Madami sa mga, kasi right now, we're going down to the ground. The ground operations have been very effective. We have what we call cine caravans, in the sense that we field people all over right now, the Metro Manila and the Mega Manila area muna, hanggang Batangas and hanggang Pampanga on the other end. We noticed that once people are informed about what Isco Moreno did in Manila, na hindi pala nila alam, and then pati yung story ng buhay niya, nagpapalit ang isip ng tao. They admit that they were convinced that they would support Ferdinand Marcos Jr. because they said may promise of gold, may promise of 5 million per voter would get 5 million if he enlists and votes for Ferdinand Marcos Jr. So this web of lies that have been spread throughout the past several years, It may take some time to unravel, but at the end of the day, lagi ko nga sinasabi, when you begin a campaign based on lies, those lies will be eventually discovered by the public. We have to trust the Filipino people. Hindi naman ganun katanga ang Pilipino. Matalino naman ang Pilipino. No? So that is how I look at it.
Okay. Tito Banayo, campaign manager po ng presidential candidate na si Manila City Mayor Isco Moreno. Mr. Banayo, always a pleasure. Maraming salamat po. Ingat po.
Maraming salamat.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Night.
Thank you, sir. We also tried to get the side of Commissioner Abubakar Mangelen to talk about the disqualification case that he filed against Bongbong Marcos today. Unfortunately, we are having some technical issues and we are not able to get a stable connection with Mr. Mangelen. So we shall try again, maybe tomorrow.
That's all for this edition of The Chiefs. We hope what was discussed here will keep the conversation going. Before we go, a reminder to our viewers, mask on, wash hands, stay safe, Philippines. Ako po si Robbie Alampay.
I'm Ami Pamintuan of the Philippine Star.
I'm Lucy Cruz Valdez of News 5.
I'm Ed Lingao and we are One News.